Hello and welcome, Saints Nation, back to the Saints Gaming CA Twitch channel here, your home for the St. Clair Saints varsity esports team. And we have, of course, done ourselves up to the nines today. We got ourselves a brand new league, and this is a huge step here for our St. Clair Saints varsity team, as this is going to be a tough but yet interesting one, and I'll explain why in a moment. But first, of course, my name's Dan Banner, your host here for tonight, or host and producer, rather, for tonight's matchup. Looking forward to this, as this league is the Upsurge minor leagues. Upsurge, that's not a collegiate league. You're right, it's not. We're in the amateur scene now, and it's the first time our Saints get the opportunity to play in something that's not strictly collegiate in a long, long time. And our first matchup tonight is going to be against the DOV Defiant. And I'm not 100% sure how many of those players exactly are on the collegiate side or not, but we'll have to see, of course, because one of the big things about the Upsurge League is that at the minimum, your players need to be at least an average of Diamond, I believe. So our Saints are up against some tough talent, and this will be fantastic for them to see how far they can go, of course, but also this is fantastic practice for the actual collegiate scene itself once we get back into that swing of things. The perfect time to get into the swing of things, of course. Now, before we do hop into the first draft phase for game number one, because of course this is still best of three territory, there's a couple things I want to point out about our Saints squad going into this match. Of course, the producers prospects coming right on up here. It's kind of tapped on number one, of course. We're not in just collegiate anymore. First time in the amateur scene in a good while. And to be honest, it's a perfect time for our squad to be doing so. Coming in strong after a hot and strong win in CLOL earlier this week. I believe it was on Saturday that ended up happening. But two things in regards to our players that you should probably keep an eye on. Of course, one of the things we noticed in the game on Saturday, granted, everybody was playing fantastically, but one of the things that definitely got me worried was any time there was some sort of contest of some sort near the Dragon or near the Baron, because unfortunately Active Force's record on the Smite has been maybe a little lackluster so far this season, but it's still early, of course, and definitely practice that out. Of course, number 4 there, the nutty Gnar for Kubra. If this team's done any research whatsoever, I guarantee you that Gnar is getting banned in Champ Select. Speaking of it, you can probably hear it here in the background. Going to be starting off game number one. Of course, St. Clair College versus DOV Defiant. Saints going to be starting on the blue side. Defiant on the red. Let's see where we go from. Two jungler bands coming out to start things off. Get rid of the Olaf, get rid of the Lilia. Fair enough. Makes sense. Lilia just can set things up from far away. Pantheon get a little bit of some of that global aggression. Get that away from the squad. Now let's take a look. Where are we going to go here for this side of the Defiance? It's going to be another jungler band, the Hecarim. No pony today. And the Nunu, they're going to take it off, or Saints are going to take that off. We did see Active Force actually pick up that Nunu during what would have been the final game on Saturday, but going to take it away. Doesn't want to put that into the hands of the opponents. Of course, DOV Defiant. Let's actually take a look at their lineup real quick too. That's Wolfie up in the top lane. We have Wixie in the jungle, Gunshin in the middle. I'm just going to call you FSHB8. That's going to be a fun one to try and say. In the bot lane alongside Keck. Okay, that one's easy enough. Get the Anivia, the third band, taking that away from Frez, and now we have the opportunity for Saints. The first pick over that Kai'Sa. That's pretty much been time and time again we've been seeing here across pretty much any league, including pro play. They just take the Kai'Sa right away. Scales, dives, burst damage. What do you like? I can do it. Now on the other side here, we have the Aphelios going to be getting picked up here. That's probably going to be FSHB8. Picking that one up more than likely. And then Wixie going to pick up the Seraphine. We've been seeing the Seraphine quite a lot as of late as well. It's just been rather strong in regards to damage, utility, setup. Seraphine's got it. They're going to be picking that up. That could go in many places as well. We've seen Gunsh, or we're not seeing Gunshin, but we've seen the mid laner pick it up. We've seen the support pick it up. I've even seen the bot lane carry pick it up before. So this Seraphine getting picked absolutely throws Saints for a loop in regards to what's happening. Sejuani getting picked up here for Active Force, which is a classic pickup for him from even way back in his past semester here with us in the Saints a couple semesters ago. I wouldn't necessarily call that a meta pick of sorts, but definitely a comfort pick. Meanwhile, we're going to see the top lane get picked up. Kubra 3 is not going to be on that Gnar this time by. He's going to be on the Gator for Renekton. Going to be picked up here for the Saints. One more pickup here for the side of DOV Defiant. It's going to be the Trundle in the jungle, more than likely, unless that goes up top lane, but more than likely in the jungle. A couple more bands on the way as well. Getting rid of the Cassiopeia for that carry mid lane potential. So that's 2 bands towards Frez's champion pool. One thing to note for the Saints, of course, the mid laner still needs to be picked, as well as Miensfo's support in this situation. Meanwhile, because the Seraphine could be flexed to multiple lanes, who knows what DOV Defiant still are thinking about in regards to picks. Of course, a Seraphine, like I was saying before, could be mid, could be support, could be a bot lane. It could be deadly either way, so we'll have to see. And the Braum going to be the last band, so 2 supports getting taken off the board in Saints' last 2 bands. Interesting enough, targeting ex-champion pool. One thing they did leave open in this situation, of course, is the Leona, if that's something that Miensfo wants to try and take here. And chat is calling out for fish bait for that top, or for the bot laner. Fish? Yeah, okay. We'll go with it for this cast. It's better than trying to say all the letters and then 8. Fish bait. I like it. The Cho'Gath is probably going up there in the top lane with Wolfie. And then Lassie, Leona was on the table, but opting for Alistair instead. I mean, we've seen him play this champion before to some pretty solid success. Of course, may not be the Leona, but still has that aggressive style and could roam with it if necessary as well. So a solid pickup. And then this is kind of what I was thinking that Frez was going to lean a little bit more towards, because you have 3 champions on the side of Saints that would make for fantastic targets to fire the Orianna ball on for some shockwaves. It's just a matter of what does Keck want to play here, because he was thinking about the Leona, kind of hanging on over the Rakan, Maokai. Passive or aggressive, which way you want. It looks like it's going to be relatively passive. And the Seraphine's going to be picked up by Gunshin here in this situation. That kind of fixes that up a little bit. I'll tell you what, this I like the Saints squad right now in regards to the synergies between, or like giving Frez rather multiple synergies for the Shockwave. Somebody's going to be right into the, are going to find themselves in the right position at some point. Give yourself more outs there. As well as some decent peel and decent protection here for Lassie. We've seen him, of course, pop off in the game on Saturday as well. I know we were all like pumping up Kubra for the gnarly Gnar, but at the same time here, Lassie's just quietly like finding double-digit kills every single game. So do not want to sleep on Lassie at all, especially now that he has that Kaisa in his pocket. And meanwhile, quickly going to take a look over at the side of DOV Defiant once again before we do end up hopping into the game. So Wolfie going to be picking up the Cho'Gath. Of course, very big boy. Once it especially starts getting past that level 6 point and onward, start getting those stacks and just be able to constantly get more and more HP, becoming tankier and tankier. Now, also in the jungle, we do have the we have Wixie on the Trundle. So solid pick, especially against a couple of these other tankier options that St. Clair are bringing. Perfect timing there. Seraphine, it's going to be Gunshin playing Seraphine. Of course, we just see Seraphine everywhere right now. Okay, I am getting the confirmation from Keck actually in the chat here. Of course, we are on quite the delay, so you're probably not going to hear this by the time the game gets underway. But yes, okay, well, I'll call him Fishbait. Thank you for the clarification. Okay, chat coming in clutch. Thank you, guys. And Fishbait on the Aphelios. So one of those odd champions I look forward to watching here up against Lassie and Miansfo, and then Keck on the Maokai. The Meowkai, oh god. I better watch that one. That's kind of funny. But it's going to be an exciting day. I'm happy to be casting some Upsurge minor league. Of course, being able to see some different leagues coming out here for our Saints to play in. I was mentioning it a little bit before, of course. That's first time in the amateur scene for this team. And looking forward to seeing how they do up against the DOV Defiant. And before we do end up popping into the game, I do want to, of course, give a big shout out to our sponsors that make this all possible. Of course, being St. Clair College, the St. Clair College Alumni Association, PC Outlet, the Zelkoman School of Business and Information Technology, St. Clair SRC, and Tim Hortons. Thank you all for making this all possible. And of course, a big thank you to everybody who's already tuning in here in the chat, supporting the squad, whether you're here for DOV Defiant or for the Saints, or supporting your friends, family members, classmates, or your program or your team in general. Always a pleasure broadcasting these matches for everybody, and thank you for supporting them. There's a couple more moments on this spectator delay to get into the game. Now, just kind of laughing a little bit at the Meowkai still. I think Meowkai is actually a proper skin in the game, right? Heck would be appropriately trolling me if that was actually selected. And I'm going to quickly take a look at the Saints roster one more time here, because we've seen Kubra 3, of course, the rookie on the squad for the St. Clair Saints. The champion that he's popped off the most on so far in this season, of course, has been the Gnar. We mentioned it a little bit earlier. Whenever he was on a passive tank, just supportive tank kind of character or champion, it just felt like he didn't necessarily have an effect in the game. However, whenever he was on the Gnar, he was able to make something happen. Now, Renekton, this time by, is what he's picked up in this game. It ain't the Gnar, but at least it still lets you get a little bit aggressive. I'll be interested to see how it ends up going up against Wolfie's Cho'Gath here, because, of course, Cho, I believe, still does have the silence on his W, which could really mess up Kubra if he does dive in to try and get aggressive and just gets silenced and he's just kind of forced to sit there and auto-attack. But we'll have to follow up with that top lane matchup as it does go along, of course. And then Frez, we've seen a mixed bag here from him so far in the collegiate seasons anyway. First game, it was a hard one, granted, but he definitely had a hard time in the mid lane there. Then Saturday, played absolutely fantastic. What kind of Frez are we going to get here? What kind of Saints team are we going to get overall? And without further ado, we're going to get ourselves into the game. Thanks for sticking around with us here for the pre-show. Don't have to wait any longer. Game number 1 now underway. During the game on Saturday, we've seen a consistent, or Saturday and I think it was Thursday, there was a good handful of early game engagements in the jungle, especially the red side, red buff seemed to be the spot where all the bloodbaths were happening, it felt like, to the point where there was almost always some sort of level 1 play.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Probably not going to be the case this time by here, however. We do see the double line of scrimmage coming out. nice calm way to start things off here. Calm before the storm here in this Upsurge Minor League Best of 3 series. It's the first time I've seen that Renekton skin. That is interesting, nonetheless. Like squeaky toy Renekton. If his weapon actually squeaks when it hits something, I would absolutely pop off. That'd be funny. Personally, I've been watching and playing, or not playing League, but I've been watching a ton of League for a long time. So ability-wise, I'm pretty well caught up, but skins-wise, not 100% caught up, which is probably why I never win any of my solo queue games, right? Because I don't know the skins, so I don't get the wins. Pretty well uninterfered with for the start here. Everybody getting to lane pretty calmly. Already seeing a little bit of trading happening in a couple of the different lanes here. Frez getting the worst end on that one. Already getting chunked from one little combo there from Gunshin's Seraphine. And okay, it looks like Cooper able to get a little bit of damage onto Wolfie, but of course Cho does have some decent regeneration as well, so if he does keep himself in an okay spot, should not go down anytime soon. Level 2 for both our mid laners. Bit of a back and forth. Lassie and Ansfo gonna have to play it cautiously, however, as it's gonna be Fishbait and Keck getting level 2 first in this situation. Finally gonna tie it up. Maybe our Saints bot lane could fight back a little bit. Good little trade there. Oh, Cooper is actually gonna find himself in a little bit of trouble. Looked like he was gonna find the better end of that trade, but good job there from Wolfie to keep himself in that trade and actually really turn that one around. Active Force is going to be in a world of hurt here. Wixie is going to chase down Active Force and chase him all the way down into the towers. Frez does not have the shield. He does have the shield just in time. Barely saving Active Force. Active Force better not get greedy, however. Frez is going to have to be very careful, though. We have action down in the bot lane as well. Fishbait getting a little bit comboed, but effort-wise, keeping himself in a decent position here. Keck going to escort him back down into the bot lane. So a little bit of an aggressive option there coming out of Wixie, chasing down Active Force, stealing that red buff, I do believe. So solid job there from him. Burns the flash. Well, they both burn their flashes in this situation. But Frez with that last second save there with the command shield was absolutely perfect timing. And Active Force actually regenerated quite a bit of health, and now he's going to try and aim his target here for Wolfie. Stun lock, try to get Wolfie. He still has a flash, not going to happen. First blood going over to Active Force. Now we do see Wixie down here in the bot lane. It's going to be Keck starting things off. Lassie's going to flash out there nice and quick. Miansfo going to just try and tank up as much as he possibly can. Wixie couldn't necessarily get a whole heck of a lot of damage in that situation. He's going to have to just end up going back into the jungle. Granted, burns Lassie's flash, but Lassie's going to have to be cautious of that moving forward here. Frez and Gunshin really going at it to the point where their mana bars are basically dry here, constantly whipping spells at each other. And Wixie actually making a presence known here in the mid lane. Throw a tower up under his feet just because he can. And push this thing down and make it rather uncomfortable for Frez to back for at least a moment. We'll probably see Gunshin Seraphine actually back right here. Sure enough, going to be the case. Mid laners, go back, recharge, get some items. We see ourselves another sneaky Active Force. Coming in hot here. Wolfie going to get stunned up. Can they get any more damage? They're thinking about possibly diving this. They very well might get this. Teleport coming out, however. This is going to be from Gunshin. Tries to push it back down on to Active Force. Frez uses his teleport to get back up there as well, but it's going to be for more defensive purposes more than anything. Just to deter the attack from going any further. But with Saints showing their hand here up in the top lane, this could be the opening for Wixie and looks like Keck to actually go towards the dragon, pick up their first dragon of the game. Done half HP already, of course. Trundle can tank that pretty well. Keck can tank that relatively decently as well. And the fact that this is uncontested means there's going to be a lot of extra damage coming out as that Infernal Drake about to go down. There it goes. Good call there from Wixie to do that. Okay, Kubra jumping in onto Wolfie, and now Kubra's starting to get some decent damage in here. Did go for the pickaxe right away to just tack on some extra damage with each of these little engages. May have been the right idea, but he's going to have to be careful. Level 6, of course, right around the corner, and then if Wolfie really wanted to, could burst him a little bit if he jumped on him with that, whatever. I'm not sure what the ultimate's called, but it is basically a big chomp. Kubra is going to be the one getting ultimate first in this situation. Level 6, ready to go. We see Wixie showing up and going to force a flash from Frez. Frez without a lot of mana here in this situation as well. And with Gunshin being level 6, Frez has to definitely be careful. Does not want to get hit by the charm. Of course, you get charmed, you basically just mindlessly walk towards Gunshin or towards Seraphine without being able to attack, and you just leave yourself an absolute sitting duck. You do not want to get hit by that. Wixie and the Saints jungle once again over down by the Gromp. And it's actually on a collision course here with Active Force. I do think that Wixie can win this one, especially now that he's hit level 6. If he really wanted to try and 1v1, he very well could. Actually, Active Force still opting to go for the trade here. Wixie is going to show up after using the Blast Code, but we do see Gunshin here with the charm. Where is Frez? Frez is right behind. Shockwave going to take down Wixie. And that's a solid ult there. Active Force hit 6 off of that elimination or off that assist. So now the chase is on here. Wolfie running for the hills, just periodically taking damage. One more shot. Can somebody get it? Sure enough, that big old maul coming out of Active Force's Sejuani is going to have enough range to take that kill. Saints 3 kills to none so far in this first game. That being said, though, kills are not everything. In regards to gold, it's not that much of a lead either. Only a couple hundred extra here in the pocket, 600-700 or so, and counting in this situation. Because sure, we're getting the kills, but at least for the side of DOV Defiant, they've still been farming up very nicely. And now it's gotten to the point, too, where I'm not sure how exactly Frez leveled up his abilities, but if he's got that shield able to tank a decent more damage here, anytime Gunshin wants to try and trade, he can at least negate a good chunk of that moving forward. So it's nowhere near as bad, and if anything, with that Blasting Wand in hand and more, Frez might be able to continuously win those trades. Keck may be overextending himself a little bit here in this lane. Takes a nice little burst out of Lazzy, but of course still early game Kaisa. Not going to be doing too much to that Maokai. Wixie's going to take the blue buff. Gunshin not going to worry about it too much. Would not be surprised if at some point we do see Active Force pass over the blue over to Frez. Just being able to constantly spam the ball everywhere would really make Gunshin's life very difficult in that mid lane. Anytime you go for a minion, that thing's off cooldown, and it's always going to just keep smacking you in the face over and over again. The second dragon is right around the corner, though. I want to see if the Saints will actually contest this one now that they have a couple of ultimates available. During the early game, maybe not necessarily the kind of fights that they want to go for, but now that they have ults, they can make something happen. However, Frez is going to get ganked. He does not have his flash up yet. He's going to try and shockwave the Seraphine, but it's not going to be enough. Wixie with the flash chomp going to secure that one right as the dragon's about to spawn. And of course, Frez with that shockwave has a huge team fighting ultimate, and if they end up going for a dragon while Frez is still down, that is going to be rough there for St. Clair. That's going to be the first kill the Saints give up here in this game so far. Active Force with the ulti trying to secure on the Gunshin, and sure enough, it's going to be Miensfo actually going in, securing that kill. So at least they trade mid laner for mid laner in this situation, and the Saints do know about the dragon being taken. That being said, though, Actiforce a little bit slow to the gun here to try and get back there, but just going to actually drop the Rift Herald into that mid lane while the dragon is being taken. Try and trade Dragon for a little bit of damage, unless they could somehow contest it still. I think he still has time if they really want to try something, but they do not have ultimates available. Sure enough, too little, too late here. It's going to be Wixie securing that dragon. Of course, that's the Mountain Drake now in their pockets. Lassie's here as well. Mansell gets actually blasted right into everybody, and everyone's just diving in this situation. Keck's going to be the first one to go down. We're underneath the turret here in the DOV side of things. Frez going to find himself another one. Kubra just tanking as much as possible. Is going to go down. Credit over to Wixie, but he's going to get it. Actually, Wixie's going to get credited with a double in this situation. So 3 down on the side of DOV compared to the 2 from St. Clair. However, there was also the dragon that did go into the favor of DOV, but Gunshin might not be long for this world if he keeps this up. Burst coming down. Sure enough, the shockwave was still available too, so Lassie's going to get the credit for Gunshin. Gunshin overextending a little bit versus the... He knew there was 2 there, and I think he would have seen Frez's Oriana ball from the river, because I think he was trying to get aggressive onto Gunshin. And just an overextension, a rough play there for Gunshin. So essentially, Dragon in 2 for DOV, 4 kills for St. Clair. Going to let the Saints, at least short term, hang on to a bit of a lead. And Kubra continuing to pressure down Wolfie there, but at the same time, looking at the CS numbers up here in this top lane, Wolfie is basically unfazed. So just about 100 CS currently compared to the 80 from Kubra. Sure, he's always in a situation where it seems like he has less health than Kubra, but he's getting the golds via the minion kills, so that's all he needs to do. Has gone down twice, however. Granted, there were some constant multiplayer pressure up in the top lane in regards to those kills. Frez almost out of gas, but the blue buff is just about available. He's going to actually go back up and get some items here. Should be able to pack a bit of a punch. Of course, he did find himself an elimination in that last skirmish down in the bot lane. Has probably a little bit of extra gold in his pocket ready to spend.
Turret plating will fall.
And Kubra can trade and take the cannon minion, ultimate value, and escape Wixie. Doing exactly what he needs to do up in the top lane. Active Force isn't too far away if need be. Meanwhile, down in the bot lane, Lassie is just going to keep on obliterating some of these tower plates, as those are just about to fall here. If you can probably snag one more, get a couple extra bucks in the pocket. He did end up getting one more plate right at the right time too, so tons of damage and tons of cash now into the pocket here of Lassie, and he has 2 kills, of course. Mansfield going to be boosted in. Oh, the flag from Active Force is going to finish things off here. Frez going to be credited with the kill too. Frez off to a fantastic start. 3 kills, 3 assists, and only going down once. Now they're going to turn their pressure to the top lane here. Wixie going to play around here with Active Force and Kubra. Not necessarily in any real danger of going down. Ultimate popped, however. He's going to try and chase him down. Active Force taking a good chunk of damage. Kubra going to try and fight him, but he should not stick around. Wolfie right around the corner as well. Active Force looked to turn and burn, but sure enough, Wolfie right there going to stop that in its tracks. We do see Keck really under-leveled, going to get absolutely popped in this situation. Actually, Lassie, even though the teleport is happening behind him, they're going to turn and burn here on to Fishbait. Just a matter if he can find himself one more shot, because of course Gunshin's right there with the Seraphine. It's going to be too little too late. Shutdown gold going over to Fishbait. This top lane fight still hasn't finished here either. Wixie and Wolfie still trying to make the play. Here comes the Dominus coming out here from Kubra. It's going to be the 1-for-1 trade, and now we have the wet noodle fight here between Wolfie and Kubra. But of course, Cooper has the advantage. He's got the may have the wet noodle, but he also has a sandstorm around him. Periodic damage every turn taken. Okay, so that was definitely an exciting last minute or two there. in the game. Both the junglers going down in that situation. Kubra finding himself with 6 assists here in this game so far, with a 1 kill as well. And then Wolfie, you can tell he's getting tankier and tankier as this game goes on. Even when Kubra tried to turn onto him, it was like less than a quarter HP after a decent chunk of damage came out. So, gotta watch out for Wolfie. Of course, Wolfie doesn't want to die because I do believe he still loses his stacks if that does end up happening. Dragon number 3 on the board here. Lazi, Miansvo are completely aware of it, and Wixie actually takes a ton of damage here via tanking Lazi and the Dragon at the same time. And this could be the situation that St. Clair wants to be in. They have, of course, a fantastic team fighting composition as long as they can pull their ultimates off properly and not take too much poke. That being said, they're taking a lot of heat here so far. Lazi getting jumped on. Huge combo coming out here between Miansvo and Frez. Going to find the first kill on to Wixie. And it's going to be short-lived here for Wolfie as well. 2 going down on the side of DOV. And Lazi looking to maybe try and take down Fishbait, but he's kind of by his lonesome. Tries to bait out the Maokai, but he ends up baiting out himself in the situation. One last shot. It's actually going to take him down. He is going to finally go down to the Seraphine. But the Saints are going to be able to clean up instead. Kubra going to lead the charge here for the ace in game number 1 here. Saints are looking on fire here in their first Upsurge minor league match. They could very well turn around and take the Dragon off of that as well. Lots of low health bars, but I mean, just let Active Force tank it and you'll probably be A-okay. You also have the shields there from Frez as well. Keep alive whoever is end up taking the damage. So they're going to be able to take this Windrake back on up and then maybe try and sneak in one more Rift Herald here before it does end up timing out and Baron Nashor comes to play. There was a little bit earlier in this game where I think it was the Defiant were taking their second Dragon, but instead of going directly towards the Dragon, Active Force had the Herald and just opted to fire it mid lane. And that did a ton of damage. The first Rift Herald, of course, got a lot of value. Granted, that damage was traded off with a Dragon, but if they could keep on defending Dragons and maybe taking the Dragons themselves from here on out, they'll continue to push themselves in a more and more fantastic position. Of course, 4,000 gold lead right now for the St. Clair Saints in this situation, just under 20 minutes here. Definitely significant, but not unwinnable here for the DOV Defiant. And sure enough, Rift Herald's going to be picked up. It's going to be Active Force going to carry it once again. Uber 3 still down here in the bot lane. Gunshin's going to be there to try and match him right next to that turret, which of course is rather low. In fact, it just dropped. So another turret down. Second one here for St. Clair. And okay, Wixie was looking to get aggressive, but as soon as Miansvo shows himself there, like, yeah, never mind. I think I'm going to turn around. I am not going to deal with that one. No Raging Bull, please and thank you. A Rift Herald to the face, why not? Active Force going to be taking a tiny bit of damage. Keck showing up as well, popping his ultimate, but it's not going to land on any targets. Lazi going to try and turn and burn here onto Wixie. He's going to find himself knocked up here by the Cho'Gath. Now Active Force, rough spot, panic ulti, not going to be able to do so. Or it may have actually got it out, but didn't exactly get a full effect to it. Where is Frez in this situation? He's crawling up from the river. Did not expect this fight to necessarily go down. Miansvo actually, I think he had the Ignite on to Wixie. Going to find the elimination 1-for-1 in this situation, and Saints are rather healthy, and Frez is here. Gunshin nowhere to be found, holding the mid lane, so Saints can get as aggressive as they want in this situation. Take a turret down, maybe even try to push a second in this situation. And to be honest, if DOV tries to group up and defend it, like I was saying before during that Dragon fight, a grouped up fight is exactly what St. Clair Saints want in this situation. Between Active Force's ult, between Frez's Shockwave, and Miansvo's like AoE CC, constantly being able to crowd control whoever the heck he wants, essentially. Somebody a nice wombo combo of sorts. Fantastic little setup here for the Saints, and Defiant are going to have to adjust accordingly. 6,000 gold now in the lead here for St. Clair College. Now granted, later this game goes, it's basically even now that I really think about it. Because of course Fred's is going to continue to turn into a monster. He's been playing absolutely out of his mind here so far in this mid lane. 4 kills and 7 assists with only the 1 death here so far. But he's already doing a ton of damage, and as he gets more and more items, that's only going to get crazier. Meanwhile, yes, Cho'Gath is going to be an absolute monster tank, which is fantastic. Trundle can be tanky and still dish out some decent DPS. But then Seraphine, okay, sure, decent damage, nonetheless, decent crowd control. And then Aphelios is basically your main go-to damage dealer in this situation. And that's a lot of pressure for one player to have to go through, especially with a team with so much crowd control as the St. Clair lineup. But this is where it starts getting a little bit weird here for Kubra, because he can't necessarily kill Wolfie. But Wolfie can't really kill him either. So it's just 2 gigantic walls just whacking each other with whack each other wet noodles, I think was the term I used earlier. Just tickling each other basically down there in the bot lane. Don't take that out of context. Whoopsie. Lassie now in the mid lane here with Miensfo. Pushing things forward. Seraphine's right there. Gunshin going to stop that from happening. Dragon's going to be probably the next target in sight here for St. Clair, unless they want to try and make a play around this blue buff. We do see Active Force scouting around. Knows there's no wards in sight. Fast forward, he sees the Trundle right there by, and that's going to be the steal, I believe, here for Active Force. Did successfully take it down. Lassie chasing forward. Wixie barely going to dodge the ultimate from Active Force, but it's still going to go down. Lassie going to find himself with his 4th kill of the game so far. And then Frez, in the meantime, does have a teleport available, but in the meantime, if there's no team fight, hey, just keep pushing top. You're A-okay. And as soon as you see everybody start coming your way, run for the hills as everybody else goes to take another dragon. Really bursting this thing down quick. They have so much damage on this team. So 2 dragons to 2 as well in this situation. So even that dragon lead that DOV Defiant had is gone now in this situation. And Baron Nashor is, of course, arrived for past 23 minutes, and it looks like everybody is going to play around here with Wolfie. The gang is all here. Only one not here is Frez. You can see, it's taking 4 players to really do so much damage, and actually, if Saints aren't careful, this very well could get turned. Fishbait in the back has been basically unattended here in regards to being able to do as much DPS as possible. Sure, Saints have burned through the tanks, but watch out, because here comes Fishbait. Tries to turn onto Mansfo. There is going to be the first elimination. Cooper 3, though, has finally found the opportunity to go dive him, and does take him down nice and quick. They don't even need Frez for this fight. He's pushing bot this entire time, and the Saints still managed to take 4 of them down. With Gunshin still here, Kubra gonna flash on forward. That's going to be another ace. Fantastic play here for the St. Clair Saints, getting maximum value out of these plays. I'm very surprised that one turned the way it did, but the gold lead they have, the items they have, just that much more power. And can they actually push us even further? They're going to do it a little bit, as of course, like we were mentioning before, Orianna, or Frez there, in the bot lane wasn't necessarily even needed for that fight, so he just kept on pushing that top, or that bot lane turret all the way forward, and we do have ourselves a pause in this situation, as it looks like Miensfo has unfortunately disconnected. So going to be quickly under pause while we await for his return. Hopefully should not be too long here in this situation, because right now, I mean, Saints, they've been looking fantastic so far. It would really be disappointing to see this turn into a 4v5 for the rest of this first game if he cannot get back in here. Hopefully it's just a matter of a quick reboot or something. It actually looks like Keck disconnected as well. So everybody, you can kind of hear in the backgrounds here, fixing everything out. So it should just be a couple more moments here. Yeah, so far, we were wondering what kind of Frez we were going to get here tonight for this first Upsurge minor league matchup, and as of right now, a 4-1-7, 4 kills, 7 assists, 1 death. The good Frez. That's a good Frez that we like to see here. Lassie on point as well, 6-2-10. And then just even the tanks and the supports in this situation, like looking at Mansfo's got himself 15 assists so far in this game. Looking at active force, he's been involved of the 23 kills that have happened here in this game. He's been a part of 22 of them, setting everybody up like mad. He's all over the place. He may not necessarily be the stylish player in this situation, but he's doing everything he needs to do. He's farming up the best he can. He's making the plays for his other teammates and has been making it work. And then same thing here with Cooper 3. He's sitting here, 8 kills, 1 death, and 9 assists. He had a very quiet top lane, to say the least, until Active Force came to visit. And then it's just been all, like, essentially downhill for the races, just running full speed. As long as you don't fall on your face, you'll be A-okay. And right now, Saints are not letting up on the gas, and they're staying stable. As it looks like we're about to get back into the game, both Keck and Miensfo seem to have gotten themselves back into the game. It should be just a moment here before we get the conclusion of game number 1 within the next couple minutes, more than likely. Definitely an exciting evening. Happy to bring the action here to everybody. Taking a look at the gold lead now in this situation here. Of course, still under pause at this moment by almost 10k here in the favor of St. Clair. And sure enough, here we go. Let's get back into the swing of things. Of course, picking up where we left off over on Baron Nashor. All of the DOV Defiant players basically just getting back from respawn. Dungeon's still down, actually, so this Baron is going to go down pretty well uncontested. I'm going to back out a dodge, group up one more time, maybe take the dragon if it happens to be up, and then just shove a lane and group as one, because that seems to be where they're at their strongest. That's definitely an awesome start here so far. If the Saints can close this matchup out, of course, like I was mentioning during the pre-show, this is the first time that the St. Clair Saints have participated in anything that was not specifically collegiate related in a long time, if not ever. I'm trying to recall if any of the older teams in the past had done so. I feel like they might have, but I cannot necessarily remember off the top of my head. Yeah, if somebody in the chat, because I know there's a couple old veterans in the chat here, if you want to correct me, by all means, let me know. But still good to see, and this is a good start. Them playing in the amateur scene and so far doing well. Rez almost getting jumped on, had a tower thrown at him real quick, but it's going to be Wixie thinking twice about diving in on that one. Rez taking damage, getting rooted in this situation. They could choose to jump on that, and that's exactly what they're going to do. That's a huge pulverize coming out here from Miensfo, but with the carries down, remember how I was saying you're running downhill and you might just fall on your face? Well, that's the kind of play that I was kind of thinking about when I think about somebody falling on their face. And Miensfo, greedy back, buddy. That's going to be painful in this situation here. Kubra as well. Like, this just... You just run back in this situation, because this is a massive present. Where the heck is Delibird? Because he just handed that one right on over like it was nobody's business. Even then, it just still took so much damage to take down Kubra. But again, that's a shutdown. And remember how I was saying that the Aphelios is going to be the big portion of the damage? Well, he just finally got all of his damage. He got, I think, at least 1 or 2 shutdown bounties in that team fight. Ill-advised team fight there after Frez got caught in the jungle getting rooted. Granted, during that entire time, Active Force was pushing the mid lane since they were pretty dead set on trying to attack bot. But now Active Force still here in the jungle. Really going to toss another one over here, it looks like, in this situation. He even fires the ultimate out, but it's going to be too little too late. I'm going to try and turn it on the Gungeon, but yeah, this is just going to be greed at its finest here. Very disappointing nonetheless. Frez does get there in time, but he does not have the shock. Oh, he does have the shockwave available. He's going to be able to at least turn this 1-for-1. Cooper 3 is here to fight as well. Wixie going to battle it out here with Keck. And he find the elimination, going to be able to do so. Lazzy going to join the party alongside Miensfo. And that tree's not long for this world. Keck going down. Now it's just a matter of dealing with Wolfie. And Fishbait just in his own jungle right now farming up. He's like, this is a lost cause. I'm not getting involved in this. And a very absurd, scrappy trickling team fight, like something you would almost see in the last couple seconds of Capture the Point Overwatch game, where it just felt like one person after another was just whipping themselves at the team fight to just try and make something happen. That's what that felt like there up in the top lane. But at least for Active Force there, from a play that looked like it was going to be grand spaghetti, it turned into actually some value. And Fishbait in the meantime, cheeky little play coming out here from him. Gonna take the Dragon away from St. Clair and actually put Dragon's Soul Point now in their favor if they do manage to get the next one. Of course, major buffs for them if that does end up happening. Lazi and Mansfolk, Kubra, and the rest of the crew here going to be there. But actually from behind, we do see Gunshin there on the Seraphine. Does get a solid charm off, but not a lot of damage coming out right now. Fishbait gets absolutely popped. Good focusing here from Lassie and the rest of the St. Clair squad. Seraphine goes down as well. It's just a matter of dealing with the tank line. And the tank line ain't going to be doing a whole heck of a lot of damage. Keck goes down. Triple kill here for Lassie. Able to push this one forward. This could be the game if Saints are able to muster up enough of a push here. Forcing the flash away from Wolfie. So yeah, Wolfie's probably going to still be alive by the turret. But of course, he does not have much wave clear. He's got a little bit, of course. His abilities aren't too bad at actually doing it, but it does not necessarily do that much damage. This tower is going to go down essentially without a hitch. And Spo flashing forward. Just a bit of a warning shot of sorts. Get the mid inhibitor, takes it down, go for the bot inhibitor. Of course, Frez was already working on this side of the map. Get themselves 2 inhibitors back on out and maybe find themselves enough time to go get some minions, clean up the jungle, go back and maybe secure themselves a Baron one more time if the timer is right. Looks like it is actually about to respawn in just a couple moments here. Just under a minute. So yeah, go back, get your items, and regroup because that's going to be the final objective for their victory, especially with the 2 inhibitors down. Super Minion's going to be pushing both the bot and mid in this situation. It's a very rough spot for DOV to find themselves in this moment. Jungle's getting cleared out, and then here comes the Saints getting ready to ward up that Baron area. In fact, it's already pretty well covered. That being said, though, looks like Keck is well aware of this idea that's going to be happening here. For St. Clair, Active Force, bit of a warning shot, then jump himself back over the wall. And sure enough, there's a favorite Squirmy Wormy. Here comes Baron Nashor. Oh god, you can tell the kid talk has been wearing off on me a little bit. I just call Baron a Squirmy Wormy. But it is one of those, it's one of those things. Between dad jokes and interesting terminology, I guess we better get used to it over here on the Saints stream. And a nice little headbutt there actually from Miensfo, shoving Wixie away, securing the opportunity to have no... Oh my god, never mind, hang on a second. That was exactly the wrong thing for both situations. Huge charm from Gunshin, but he does go down after a huge shockwave from Frez. 2 huge ultimates really threw a mess into things, but there's going to be enough damage still on the side of St. Clair. They're tanky enough to withstand that barrage coming out from Gunshin and the rest of the DOV Defiant squad. They're able to turn it around and fire out a barrage of their own, and they're going to march their way back into the base because, hey, the super minions are already here. Clean up this tower, 1 more on the board, and St. Clair are going to win their first game here in the Upsurge minor leagues. But of course, it may be the game, it's not the series. Of course, this is still best of 3 action. So a solid start here for the St. Clair squad. Got themselves a lead rather early, and they basically did not let go. Constantly, from being maybe just a couple hundred gold ahead to almost 10k by the end of that one, if not 10k by the end of that one. So looking fantastic here. DOV, of course, had a hard time in those team fight situations because you kind of saw both of them kind of get what they want in that last engagement. Everybody from the Saints grouped, massive charm coming out of Gunshin. All of them. They were able to get a good chunk of damage in. I think they even took out Lassie in that fight. But he still had to deal with Frez, who was able to throw the ball, I believe it was onto Miensfo in that situation. Or one of the tank line players of St. Clair are able to essentially instantly return big AoE damage onto them. And it just had more damage in that situation. So, solid job there from the Saints to close that one out. But still have some more matches up ahead. Game number 2 between St. Clair and DOV Defiant will be happening in just a few moments. Go get a drink, stay hydrated, and we'll be back before you know it.